Thank you for joining, everyone. We're just going to give it a few more minutes for people to jump on the call, and then we'll begin. All right, Darby, are you ready to start?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for joining, everyone. Today, we are going to be talking about doing more with Teams meeting. We did this session a while back, probably about 6 months ago, but with all the new changes and the new year, we just wanted to make sure that you are aware of all the wonderful changes that have come to Teams meetings. And we're going to help you be more productive with your Teams meetings as well. So stay tuned, and hopefully we'll show you some new tips and tricks that you haven't learned before. So we'll kick it off with some introductions for those of you that have not joined our call in the past. My name is Bridget Ballard, and I'm a customer success manager based out of the Pacific Northwest. And my home office before COVID is Bellevue, Washington, but currently am, of course, working from home like the rest of y'all.
And my name is Darby O'Brien. I am also a customer success manager. I am on the East Coast. I'm based out of Reston, Virginia. So kind of looking at the agenda that Bridget and I want to cover today, like Bridget said, we want to cover some different meeting options that you have. There's some different places you can actually schedule a Teams meeting. That's pretty much a shortcut. So we want to show you how to do that, especially if you have never tried it before. We want to share some meeting best practices, some good ways to troubleshoot, some good ways to keep track of your meetings and your meeting notes. We want to share a little bit about some upcoming features, which we will of course cover on this series as they land. And then finally, we just want to make sure that you're aware of some of the other resources that you have access to. So if you learn something new on today's training and think, oh, you know what, that would be something great to offer to my organization, we just want to make sure that you're set up with those resources and know who to contact for that. But without further ado, today's going to be a big demo day, so we're just going to hop right into the demo. And as always, please feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A, and we'll try and answer them as promptly as we can.
All right, Darby, I'm going to go ahead and change our screen over to our demo tenant.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so what we have got here is a regular Teams demo tenant. We're in a demo tenant today. And typically this is the place we start, right? When we're ready to schedule a Teams meeting, generally most of us hop to the calendar section and we use that big purple button on the top right. But today we want to show you a couple other places that you can actually do this. We are going to show you again how to do this in the calendar tab, but we also want to show you how you can get this done from the chat and the Teams tab. So starting with the chat, which we have covered this in the past once before, but when you are in one-on-one chats or even group chats, you can notice those buttons in the top right corner where you can always jump into a meeting ad hoc. So a great use case for that, right, is if you're in a group message and you're discussing ideas and you quickly realize, you know what, this is just a better conversation to be had in a call, you can very easily click on that call button and jump right into an audio call. A really common question that we receive is, if I decide to video call someone, does that mean that they have to answer in video? Absolutely not. You're just deciding how you would like to join that call. So that's a great option. It's something that we have mentioned before. And as you can see, it just kicks you right into a call. The other option that you have got within a Teams chat, again, one-on-one or group message, is actually the ability to put a call on the calendar directly from the chat. So if you'll notice where Bridget's mouse is, on that bottom control panel under the type a new message box, there's a calendar icon. If you select that, it's going to open a meeting card for you, and you are going to be able to send out a meeting invite directly from chat. So this saves you time from remembering everyone's name in the group chat and then trying to hop to the calendar tab and making sure that they're all included. It's a one-stop shop here. So you'll notice what it did is it auto-filled the to line. Because Bridget was in a chat with me, who I'm logged in as the mod administrator today, it auto-filled. So if this were a group message scenario, anyone that was in the chat would be filled into the to line. So this is just a quick shortcut. This is exactly like scheduling a meeting from the calendar tab. It's just saving you some time. You still have access to that scheduling assistant. And then once Bridget hits send there, this is going to show up on everyone's calendar just like you would in the calendar tab. So Bridget's going to hop into the calendar, and there that meeting is. It's sent out to everyone just the same as it was if it was created here or in Outlook. So just keep that in mind. It's just a nice shortcut to kind of keep in your toolbox. The other place that you can schedule a Teams meeting that is not the calendar tab is also in a Teams channel. So I'm going to pass it over to Bridget to kind of walk you through what that looks like as well.
Thanks, Darby. And one thing to know about the chat is, so when we just scheduled that previous meeting, we were in a one-to-one chat. It's a great use for, let's say you have a group chat and you don't want to go into the calendar tab and add everyone's name from your group chat. It's a great way to just be able to start a meeting on the fly within your group chat as well. So now I'm going to switch over into our very familiar Teams tab, and some of you might be familiar with channel meetings. We just want to walk through some of the changes that have been made and specifically how to schedule and use these channel meetings. So what we have up in the top right-hand corner, we actually have a Meet Now button. So what this Meet Now button is going to do is it's going to start a meeting within the channel. Now, it doesn't send everybody a notification because I didn't schedule it. I'm just starting it on the fly. So you'll notice that it brings me to the meeting start page, and you'll notice that this is different from when I made a call within my chat. So this time I'm actually starting a meeting, and I can label it just as I would be able to when I'm scheduling a meeting. So I want to call this one lunch break, and I have all the similar meeting join functions as I would with a normally scheduled meeting. So I'm going to join now. And we'll let it connect. And so what you'll see when I join the Meet Now panel is you can see that I'm in here. I'm Joanna for this demo, and Joanna has started this meeting, so it'll put her in the top tab that says in this meeting, and it'll give me suggestions based off of people that are a part of this channel. So you'll see that the administrator just jumped in, because if I go and minimize this screen, you'll see that I have a Meet Now meeting going on with the purple video icon showing, and it'll give you the time, the people that are in the meeting, and an ability to join. So the administrator was able to be in the channel. She saw that I jumped into lunch break. So, you know, it's not anything mandatory, but I just wanted to start something fun for my team. So I figured, hey, if anybody's on, I'll just start a lunch break meeting right here. So you can see that anybody can jump into this meeting. And let's say that another person in our channel couldn't make it, but that they wanted to kind of say something. You know, they could say, enjoy, I'll catch you tomorrow. So that is specifically what Meet Now is. Again, a great way to just start something on the fly. I'm going to bring back the meeting, and I'm going to leave so that I can show you how to schedule a meeting within a channel. So we have the Meet button I want to go to the drop down and say schedule a meeting. So what schedule a meeting from a channel does, the biggest difference is that it auto-populates the channel for you. So I'm in the Finance General channel, and it is going to post to this channel once I'm done. So I'm going to do coffee break this time. And I get to pick people that I want to invite. Let's say that they're outside of the channel. I can still go in and invite individual people if I want to. So I'm going to set this for 2. I still have my scheduling assistant available as well. So when I click send, you'll notice that it schedules a meeting within the channel, and it gives you the calendar icon with the name of the meeting, the date, and the time. Now, when this meeting time comes up, so it's set for 2 p.m. Eastern, when 2 p.m. Eastern rolls around, you will actually see a join button on the channel, so you can go ahead and join it right from the channel meeting. And then if you want to go in and see the meeting details, I can easily go back in and see everything that I had put in there about the date and time, as well as all the join information. Do you have anything else to add on this one, Darby, before I move on to scheduling within the calendar?
I don't think so. I think maybe one main thing to add there would be, even when you schedule a meeting from a Teams channel, you'll notice that it does auto-populate the channel that you're in, but you can then add more attendees from there, right? So you could add names to the to line as well.
Yeah, great call out. And I think I did that in this one. So you'll notice how I added Deborah. So even if she's outside of this channel, I can still go in and add these mandatory and optional attendees. That's a good call out. So I'm going to close this out. Are there any questions from the chat that I can answer, Darby, either before I move on?
We did have 2 questions that we can just kind of call out for the whole group. But we did receive a great question that, when you call while in a group chat, does it call out to every single member of the chat, or can you decide who it calls out to? That is going to call out to everyone that is a member of the chat. They can always decline the call if they are preoccupied or they're busy, but they're all going to get a ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second question there was, when creating a call in the Teams tab, can any member of the team create that? Can they use the Meet Now functionality or schedule a meeting?
Yes, so anybody that's a member of the channel, they do have to be a member. They won't be able to see the channel if they're not a member of the team. Or if it's a private channel, it just has to be somebody in that channel, but anybody can use that Meet Now button.
Awesome.
Great, so I will move over into calendar next. This is most likely what a lot of you are familiar with. It's kind of the go-to way to schedule meetings. So we're just going to cover it briefly, make sure that we kind of complete every way that you can schedule a meeting within Teams. And then we're actually going to jump into a meeting and walk through some of the new features that are in that new meeting experience. So as you can see, I have all of these scheduled on my calendar. I can go back in and join ones that were previously scheduled within the week. There's nothing preventing me from going in and joining these. But let's say that I want to go schedule a new meeting. Again, I have that Meet Now button. This is a great way to test some of the new features that come out within the meetings platform. So if I go to my Meet Now button in my calendar, it's going to put me in a meeting alone. So I can absolutely, and I'm just going to quickly join. I can absolutely add people to this meeting, but Darby brought this up when we were preparing for this. It's a wonderful way to go in and kind of play around with the new features, or even if you're trying to demo this for somebody else in your organization. You can't break anything in here, it's just you. And you do have the availability to go in here and call other people in. So if I wanted to invite Darby, who is the administrator today, I can easily type the administrator name in and it will call her. So it's just another way to quickly meet on the fly. And then I will leave this one In the new meeting panel, you'll see a drop down. We have schedule a meeting and live event. For the interest of time, because live event is kind of its whole other process, we aren't going to be covering it in this session. We have done sessions in the past, so if you're interested in learning more about live events, feel free to check that out. We do post all of our old videos on our landing page. So right now I'm going to click on schedule a meeting. And you'll notice that it looks similar, well, not similar, it's the same as all the other times I've chosen schedule a meeting. So I can add my title. We can do quick check-in. And I can add my optional people like I can in Outlook as well. And I still have my scheduling assistant. I can go in and change the time zone, which is important for us internally because typically we work across all different time zones on our team. And then one thing I want to mention is you can go in here and add any of your channels. Now this list is just a list of teams. I have to go and click that drop down button to get a list of all my channels. So if you want to schedule a channel meeting this way, you can. I always recommend just scheduling it within the channel so you don't accidentally pick the wrong one. But if you feel more comfortable doing it this way, you can absolutely do it this way as well. So I'll just pick a random one for right now. And then when I click send, it populates immediately. I have my lunch break at the same time. All right, we'll let it buffer there for a second, but what I would like to show you is that once it's populated, and I'm running a little bit slower because I am running a virtual machine, that's why you didn't see any of my microphone or camera hooked up when I joined the meeting, but when it populates, you'll be able to go in, and we'll give this one a little bit more time to load, and I'll use the lunch break as an example. Once your Teams meeting actually loads, and it really only takes a few seconds typically, you can go back into the meeting and you'll notice on the top bar that you have access to the meeting chat and files and meeting notes before you actually join the meeting. So let's say that you're in a some sort of roundtable and you want to set the agenda beforehand. I can put it in the meeting notes or I can put it in the chat so that people receive that prior to the meeting starting. I think that's often a forgotten feature. A lot of times when meetings are scheduled, I think people typically just wait until the start of the meeting to go ahead and put their agenda. But to run, more efficient meetings, to give people time to understand what the meeting's about, I would highly recommend using some of these features to give that to your users. Of course, let's go back. You can always put that information in the body of your meeting as well, whatever's more convenient for you. Is there anything I missed here, Darby, before we jump into our Teams meeting?
I don't think you missed anything, but I do just want to reiterate how killer I think that feature is, that you can hop into the meeting chat and the meeting notes before the meeting has even begun. So you still have access to that entire navigation bar under the ability to post a message. So you can attach files, you could share your presentation with the group. That is a great way to have more efficient meetings. Just like Bridget said, you're getting everyone up to speed, everyone on the same page before the call even begins.
And Darby, I do see a question here about channel invites. I quickly wanted to mention that. So some people have asked, does everybody in the channel get a notification on their calendar that there's a channel meeting, or can they only access it from the channel? That is going to depend on your Outlook settings. By default, typically the owner will get it and then the other people can see it within the channel. But there are some settings that could be turned on to make it vice versa. If you're interested in having it show up for every single person in the channel on their calendar, I would say reach out to your account team so we can help troubleshoot. So short answer is you can make it either way. You do have the choice to do that, and that would be an Outlook setting. All right, Darby, are there any other questions that you saw that you were answering before we jump into a meeting?
Let's see. We did get a question of where those files are being stored when you add a file to a meeting.
Yeah, so that file is going to be stored in your meeting chat, and I want to double check on specifically where that file is going to be saved.
I think that's going to directly depend on how you scheduled this meeting, right? So if you scheduled it through chat, files that are going in and out of chat, that's going to OneDrive. If you scheduled this as a channel meeting, that's going to be going to the SharePoint. If you scheduled this just from the calendar and added names, that's going to go to the chat, so therefore it's going to go to the OneDrive.
Yeah, thanks for that answer, Darby. It's a great call out. I was trying to put too many things together there on that one. So yes, again, it's going to be dependent. And thanks for that call out, because we will add that to our handout afterwards. So you can reference that and kind of visually see where it maps to. And we have some documents on that as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into our meeting. Let's just use the lunch break. And then Darby, you should be in this one while as the administrator.
Awesome, I'll join now.
So most of you may be familiar with the new join screen. I'm going to go through it briefly because there are some things that are helpful to set up before your meeting. You have multiple different options to choose where your audio is coming from. Typically, you're going to choose your computer audio, and your setup is going to be whatever Bluetooth device or speaker that you have set up. It is important to call out that before your meeting, make sure that's all set up correctly. If you like to switch back and forth between the devices, every time I join, I just double check that I have the right one on there. You can also use your phone audio. I think it's important to call out that there's multiple ways to use your phone audio. If you use it from the join screen, they'll give you a number to call, or the meeting can actually call you after. But while this is a great way, and it definitely does work, we usually say as a best practice, if you have the mobile app on your phone, just go ahead and join the meeting from your mobile app. Now, of course, if you're not on Wi-Fi and you might need to call in, that's another option. But using your app for audio is great, and you can see what's being shared in the meeting. So if you want to join via your phone audio, if you don't have your Bluetooth speaker, we highly recommend joining from your Teams mobile app. And lastly, you can join a room, not as important now as most of us aren't in the office, but if there's a specific Teams meeting room that you want to join, you can search for it here. And then you can also join with no audio. You're going to be muted the whole time to avoid any disruption. So I'll go back to my computer audio. I'll join. And you'll see that the administrator is in here with me. And so, Darby, do you want to kick off some of our new features in the participant panel? Or no, sorry, I will go ahead and do that. I'll hand it over to you for our chat and raise hand. So in our participant panel, you'll see that we have who is in this meeting. Some new features that have come out. They've been out for a few months, but they are kind of easy to be missed if you don't check these 3 ellipses. So we have don't allow attendees to unmute. So this is our hard mute option. Let's say that you're in a meeting that is simply an update with executives or managers, or even if it's just a team meeting and you don't want other people to come off of mute. If I were to click this, it would simply put the administrator on mute and they would be unable to come off of mute. I also have manage my permissions. This is going to pop me out into my Edge window, and it's going to give me some meeting options that I can control. It's great to call out because you can actually do this inside of the meeting. So my meeting's still running, but I can do this in the background if I need to. And then lastly, the attendee list. We get a lot of questions about this. You'll want to download your attendee list during the meeting because this is the only way it will give you all the people that have joined the meeting. So make sure before you end your meeting or at either the beginning or the middle, even the end, to download your attendee list. Another thing I want to call out is this copy join info. A lot of times people may miss the invite or they can't find it. They're digging through their email or their Teams, and you just need to quickly chat it to them. You can copy your join info with these two little, they almost look like two little chain links right here. It's copied to clipboard, and now I can go and chat that to anyone. Last thing I want to call out are the 3 ellipses over each person. You'll see pin, spotlight, make attendee, and remove from meeting. Make attendee and remove from meeting have been features that we've had for a while, but spotlight is fairly new and it is different from pinning. So when I choose spotlight, if I'm going to spotlight the administrator, I'm turning this on for everyone. So I just made the administrator's feed the primary feed for everyone in the meeting. Now, if I go and turn off spotlight and I just want to pin the administrator, that pin is only for me. So as Joanna, I'm the only one that has pinned the administrator as their main feed. So it's important to note between the two. If you're an organizer running the meeting and you want your feed to be seen only, choose the spotlight. But if people in your organization want to pin certain people on their own, they can still use the pinning feature. Darby, do you want to kick us off for chat and raise hand?
Sure. All right, so let's take a look into what we have here in chat, as well as the raise hand feature. Not a lot of new functionality here in chat, but just want to point out to you, when you are scheduling meetings, either, ad hoc through the calendar tab or through a Teams channel, a chat is a great way to have your meeting notes and stay up to date. So even when this meeting is over, we still have access to everything in the chat and we can continue to chat with each other. So the beauty of that is, if Bridget and I are collaborating on this call, she sends me a couple links, maybe a PowerPoint deck, or whatever it may be, I can still access all of that information and ask her questions about it once the call is over. This is also where you would see your meeting notes begin, and we'll show you what that looks like in just a little bit. From the raise your hand functionality, this is a great feature, and I do believe this is something they're going to expand upon, but just kind of taking a look at when someone hits that, and I'll go ahead and hit it from my side so we can see from Bridget's point of view. When you raise your hand, you'll see that person glow, and then you also have the ability to lower that person's hand. So something that we notice pretty quickly is sometimes once you raise your hand, you forget that you have your hand raised. So it's a nice new feature there that you can lower other people's hands, especially if they just don't realize that they've had it raised for the whole call.
Awesome, thank you, Darby. And then our newest feature, which we know so many people are excited about, we actually cover this on our last monthly call. So if you missed it, please go and check it out. I'm sure we'll be covering it again as there have been many questions on best practices, but for the interest of time, we won't go too far into it. I'll just briefly cover what you can see right here. So as many of you may know, Breakout Rooms was released prior to the holiday season. You have multiple ways of choosing how your participants are divided into breakout rooms. The first being automatically, the second being manually, and you can choose the number of rooms. So if I were to go and click create rooms, it would make 5 people or 5 rooms. Obviously, there's not enough people right now to put that many people into rooms. So Darby would only be sitting in one and the rest would be empty. When I create those rooms, I have a bunch of different options that I can do once those rooms are created. So again, for the interest of time, I'm going to cancel out of this. And lastly, just go and briefly show you some of the settings within here. I know we're running out of time, so I will try to be brief. Device settings, this is the first place you should go if you're having audio troubles. A lot of times people don't realize that one of their other devices may have been hooked up, or one piece of sounds coming out of their computer and not their headset. So this is going to always be your first place to go to troubleshoot. I can go into here into meeting options and change these while I'm in my meeting, which is great. Prior, it was a little bit harder to change your meeting options. You can go into your meeting notes, start taking notes. And now you'll see that I can capture these meeting notes in here. Let's go back into the meeting. So your meeting notes again will be stored within your chat. You'll see right here that I created my meeting notes for this meeting. Meeting details also shows up right here. I can copy my join info from this panel as well as the participant panel. And then large gallery and together mode, everyone should see in GCC now. It is not showing up for me because I don't have enough video screens for it to be populating. So for large gallery, you need 10 videos, at least 10 videos for it to turn on. And then for together mode, you would need at least 4 people with their videos on to share. The rest is all standard. These are all features that we had before, so nothing really new to discuss here. Darby, in the interest of time, I don't know if we'll be able to show the PowerPoint, so I'll just briefly touch on the fact that you can share screen between desktop, window, and actually on PowerPoint, you can share the file itself. When you share the file itself, this actually allows people to scroll forward and back within the slide. Great for people that might not be able to make the whole meeting and want to just see a gist of what is covered in the PowerPoint. If that's not of interest, you can turn that off so people can't move forward and back. But, oh, Darby just did it for us. So you'll see that I can navigate through the slides right here. And I can turn that off if that's not something that we want. All right, so we might go a little bit over. If you have to drop, no worries at all. We'll continue on and this will be recorded. So feel free to drop if you need to. We'll just cover a few more things before we end. The last thing we want to cover from the meetings panel is this leave button. So, self-explanatory, everyone's familiar with this, but I do want to show this drop down. I have my leave option and my end meeting. Leave is I'm just going to leave the meeting, but the administrator can still be sitting in here if they want to. This end meeting will actually kick everyone out of the meeting out. Now, they can still go back and join that meeting later, but what we see often is people will not know that they are still in a meeting, and they might be on their phone or their computer and have it in 2 places and just leave it on. So this end meeting is great if you have people sitting out on your meeting for multiple hours when there's nothing going on. This end meeting will simply kick everyone out of it. All right, is there anything else, Darby?
I don't think so. I think you covered it.
Okay, and sorry again for kind of speeding through that last part there. It took us a little bit longer than we expected, but that's good. We had a lot of great content. Okay, Darby, quickly, I'm going to end. And if you want to share the PowerPoint one more time, we can simply go through some of the documents that we'll be able to provide after this to help you with meetings, as well as some of our offerings for training.
Awesome.
And I'm going to stop sharing.
I'll take over here. All right, let me know when you can see my screen.
I can see it.
Awesome. So as always, Bridget and I are going to provide this deck to you via our landing page. The landing page link is actually the exact same link that you used to join this call. We'll switch it back once the call is over. We just wanted to simplify it for one link for everything. But this is a question that we have been asked a lot recently. So we wanted to provide this kind of screenshot demo that you can share even with your own customers and your own external users that you're inviting to Teams meetings. So this is just a walkthrough of step-by-step what to expect if you're going to be joining Teams from the web, because you do not have the Teams app. You do not have to have the Teams app to join a meeting. Anyone can join a Teams call. They just need the internet to connect over it. So I just wanted to quickly point these out to you. I won't read aloud every step-by-step, but just know that you have this resource at your disposal if you want to send this slide deck out. This is going to kind of guide them exactly through the steps that they need to follow to join the meeting successfully. And then Bridget, did you want to touch on any of the training resources that they have?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see, there's many ways to be able to join Teams meetings, and we know that sometimes end users need a little bit more help than just a one-time session. Our Microsoft Store teams actually have an entire agenda based around Teams meetings. And so what we frequently see is customers using one session related to Teams meetings and then one session related to other collaboration features, and they'll just repeat those. But with so many different options in meetings and so many ways to get things done, we highly recommend taking advantage of specifically meetings training. So if you're interested in the meetings agenda or speaking with a representative from the Microsoft Store team, reach out to your account team. They all know how to get in touch with them, and they can help you get in contact with one of the store representatives to walk through what would be involved in a meetings training. But that is all that we have today. Thank you again for joining, and thanks for staying on a little bit longer. We do always post our slide deck and other resources, as well as the recording after the call series. Typically, we get it posted Monday or Tuesday of the next week, and we'll go through all of the questions that were answered and post your answers then as well. So just give us a little bit of time to combine them all and get them formatted into the slide deck, and we will be sure to post that all for you next week. Anything else to add, Darby?
I don't think so. Yeah, just like Bridget said, I know we didn't get to everyone's question today, but we are going to go through them and provide those answers. So if you're looking for an answer, just know it's going to be posted in the deck. We'll make sure to get it to you.
All right. Well, that concludes everything on our side. Thanks again for coming, and we will see you next month. I will go ahead and end the session now.
Thanks, everyone.